Hello and welcome to Young Turks, the show that's been highlighting entrepreneurial excellence for the past 12 years. I'm Shireen Bhan. Today we bring you an international special. We get you all the action from the Dell Women's Entrepreneur Network Summit in Austin, Texas, and then we travel to Monte Carlo to bring you some interesting stories from the EY Entrepreneur of the Year Awards. But let's start with the Dell Summit first. In its 5th year, the Dell Women's Entrepreneur Network Initiative has matured to become more than just an annual gathering of high-powered women business leaders. Today, DWEN connects female entrepreneurs across the globe with networks, sources of capital, knowledge and technology, giving them the power to do more with their businesses. This year was special because the conclave came back home to Austin, Dell's corporate headquarters, and Michael and Susan Dell chaired a special session at the 3-day-long summit. Young Turks Shruti Mishra traveled to Texas to bring you all the action. Let's take a look.
The 11th largest city in the US, Austin is famously known as the live music capital of the world, and has over the last 3 decades seen some of the very large and global businesses emerge out from the city. Organic food giant Whole Foods, online travel guide TripAdvisor, and personal computing giant Dell. And June saw the city playing host to the 5th Dell Women Entrepreneur Network. We caught up with Ingrid Vandervelde, Dell's erstwhile entrepreneur in residence, to find out what's so special about the 2014 summit.
Dell has just gone private. We are really rebirthing as a company, and this was an extraordinary opportunity to really showcase everything that's going on. I think one of the most exciting things is that in our first year, DWEN was really an experiment for Dell, and what we've seen happen is it just has blossomed into the premier gathering of women entrepreneurs and CEOs from around the world, and it is such a priority for Dell that, of course, Michael and Susan Dell are going to be here too. So we are thrilled about it, and I'm so excited to invite people to my town.
Ingrid, over the last few years, has been responsible for building up Dell's campaign of empowering 1 billion women by 2020. This initiative has given access to thousands of women entrepreneurs across the globe to networks like DWEN, introduced them to new technologies to bring efficiencies to their businesses, and created channels for venture financing and knowledge sharing. We asked Ingrid where the campaign stands today.
In collaborating with Dell, it gave an instant global platform to connect with millions and millions of women worldwide. And I can tell you, just through our work last year, we reached over 600 million people around the globe. And my attention is really shifting to smartphones and financial literacy. So we've got a lot coming in the summer, and it's going to be a very exciting fall.
What better way than to celebrate DWEN's 5th anniversary, taking it back home to Austin, where Michael Dell founded the company in 1984. Now, Austin is playing host to over 200 women entrepreneurs, investors, and executives who've come together to share their narratives in success, mentorship, and philanthropy. This year, the theme is Bold Beginnings and Brave Futures, and Young Turks is here to bring you women entrepreneurs who fit the bill. And the highlight of DWEN 2014 was the session with Michael and Susan Dell, titled Lessons Earned. Let's take a look.
Michael, I want to talk to you about education, because I know that I'm certainly old enough to have been schooled when it's sort of a cookie cutter thing. You know, you get in the classroom and you're with 20, maybe even more other kids, and there's a teacher that's teaching to one template. But you decided we need to individualize that. So talk about the challenges of that and how you help fund these programs and how you choose the programs that you want to work with education-wise.
Well, education's been a big focus, and here in the U.S., you know, we started with individual schools, public schools, and also charter schools. Then we worked with districts, we worked at the state level, and we found a number of things. One of the things we found was that there was really very little data. And when there was data, it was actually totally different from school to school. There was no way to comparatively understand the data and make better conclusions. So we worked with teachers, and we created a series of systems to be able to understand this data. We worked with the state of Texas on the Texas Student Data System, and now we're in up to almost half the school districts in the United States are using something called EdFi, which is something the foundation created.
And what also has spawned from that is the Dell Scholars Program. You guys, there are 589 people students, young kids, at the end of last year that have gone through the Dell Young Scholars Program. And that means they've gone on and matriculated into college.
First of all, we are so proud of the Dell Scholars Program, as well as the Dell Young Leaders, which is in South Africa, which is modeled after the Dell Scholars. We have 2,500 students in the Dell Scholars Program, and these students are graduating with a degree. We have 85% success rate, and that's compared to 20%,
wow,
which is the national average for kids that are in the same socioeconomic category.
While Michael and Susan Dell's presence was one of the highlights of the event, the other entrepreneurial story that stole the limelight was that of 12-year-old fashion designer Isabella Rose Taylor. This Austin, Texas girl was 8 years old when she attended a sewing camp. Soon after, Isabella Rose Taylor started making her own clothes. Her designs drew compliments, and just a few months later, she held her first trunk show in a local boutique. Customer reaction was positive, and when Isabella was 9, she and her parents realized it could be a business. With the creative part down, Isabella needed help learning production. So her parents, both doctors, founded Lisa Dearmengen, founder of Fashion Accelerator 360, a New York-based fashion business coaching firm. With Lisa's help, Isabella quickly learned the ropes, from sourcing fabrics, finding models, to creating samples. Isabella is now all set to launch her juniors clothing line, described as hippie grunge yet feminine, on a rack in Nordstrom later this year.
I contacted Nordstrom's, and it's a funny story because it turns out that they actually already knew about me and they were pitching it to some people that worked there, and it was so crazy. So I got the deal with them, and that's such a dream come true, and I'm so excited.
All right, so tell me about something about your fashion line. What is your USP?
I design ready to wear, so it's everyday, casual. It's a pretty reasonable price point. It's about $40 to $90, so it's a little bit higher end. Well, my customer is a juniors customer, and I'm going to be in the BP section of Nordstrom's. The girl who wears my clothes likes to mix different styles. She's hippie, grunge, sporty. She mixes things up, and she's not just one thing.
You're so young, and were you ever skeptical? There are always critics.
I've learned from putting my art out there at such a young age that not everybody's going to love what I'm doing, and I have to be okay with criticism, and I've gotten strong from that. And also, it's nice when someone appreciates what I'm doing and is inspired.
What are the future plans?
We'll have a great production team in place, so hoping to keep working with them, and my dream would be to expand into jewelry and be an international brand.
All right, Isabel, any India plans? We've got growing up girls there too. What do you think of Indian fashion?
I love it. I love the colors. I always wanted to go to India and just experience the culture. I think it's so amazing, and hopefully one day I'll be able to go there and maybe even design some clothes.
Now there's a true young tech. Isabella, here's wishing you the very best of luck for your launch at Nordstrom. And over the next couple of weeks, we'll bring you more such inspiring entrepreneurial stories from DWEN, so keep watching this space. It's time now for us to take a break, but when we return, we bring you all the action from the EY Entrepreneur of the Year Awards 2014 from Monte Carlo. Keep watching this special episode of Young Turks. Welcome back. You're watching our Young Turks International Special as we travel from Austin, Texas, now to Monte Carlo. It was a special year for India at the EY World Entrepreneur of the Year Awards 2014. Uday Kotak, the Executive Vice Chairman and Managing Director of Kotak Mahindra Bank, won the top honours, beating entrepreneurs from 60 other countries. Kotak is the second Indian to win the award after N.R. Narayanamurthy in 2003. On the sidelines of the event, we also caught up with the man behind India's #1 local search engine, Just Dial, VSS Mani, and one of the EY India awardees. What started in 1996 with a seed capital of 50,000 rupees is today a multi-million-dollar company that just had a blockbuster listing on the Indian bourses last year, and it's maintained its gains ever since. We caught up with Mani in Monte Carlo, quizzed him on the year that's been and about Just Dial's future plans. Take a listen.
caught up with VSS Mani of Just Dial in Monte Carlo. Mani bagged the EY Entrepreneur of the Year in services for the India round, and we began by asking him what the year since listing Just Dial has been like and if private equity players were looking for an exit from Just Dial. Let me start by asking you about what the private equity players intend doing now that the lock-in has expired on the 30th of May. Have they reached out to you, told you whether they're staying on, exiting?
They want to stay put. They want to.
All four of them?
Oh yeah, 5 of them actually. Almost a majority is going to hold on to the stocks. Yeah.
So they're hoping for better valuations.
Well, they're hoping for better valuations. They see much more promise left in the company, so they want to stick around. And eventually, when you sell a stock, you have to put the money somewhere else. So they see it's better to stay put.
Absolutely. But, speaking of promise, and the markets are clearly betting big as far as Just Dial is concerned. And what's interesting now is that this is being seen as a search plus transaction play. But speaking of the transaction side, how quickly, how soon can we actually expect you to monetize the transaction side, the search plus side of the business?
We're not focusing on the monetization side right now because this is a habit-changing thing that we are doing, which is search plus transaction. We're expecting the users to evolve to search plus transaction, which we are seeing. There's evidence enough for that. So our focus is now to educate the vendors to participate in this platform and give a wow experience to our users who could now transact. For example, if it is a restaurant and if you order food from using Just Dial interface, the food should be delivered at your doorstep in the quickest possible manner, and then you're able to track also your food order. And especially that we know that if we provide an interface to our users where they can discover price for products, so if you want to buy a mobile phone of a particular brand, you can just come to Just Dial. Within 60 seconds you get to know the price, and these are real price because these are vendors from your vicinity. So that's something that we are providing as a platform to these vendors, and there's fantastic response. So once all this takes off, and that's when we look at monetization.
But give me a timeline. By when do you believe that you would have put all these pieces into play and you will be able to focus then on monetization? And what could it add then as far as your top line and bottom line are concerned?
So there's a lot of action happening now. By next month you would see this in full swing, this entire product. And as far as monetization is concerned, to really say that a significant amount of revenue that could hit our balance sheet, the P&L account, should be next year. Next financial year, you should see some significant amount coming out of Search Plus transaction.
Quantify significant.
I don't know, maybe 3-4 years down the line, this transaction bit should earn more revenue than the search engine revenues.
Once the Search Plus side really begins to kick in, what can we really expect then in terms of margin accretion?
Well, it could be huge. So far, people have been coming to Just Dial so if you don't know where, you come to Just Dial to find it. But what we are giving in the new platform is, you know where, but I'm giving you a convenient way to do it. I'm giving you a place where you can even discover price. So your traditional way of discovering price was probably going to multiple malls or checking out with the third-party internet site, but you don't intend to buy it online. You still want to buy it from an offline store. But now, Just Dial gives you a platform where you can discover the price from offline stores right here. And if you want, you can buy it online at Just Dial, or you can actually walk up to the store and buy it. So you can imagine that's that's the entire market in this country.
Does it excite you now that the markets are looking at you so closely? People like DB have initiated coverage on Just Dial. Does it excite you?
Definitely exciting, but it is, as I say, it's far bigger.
You find it restrictive as well because exactly, your every move is being watched now.
I would definitely say that we have to walk the talk. If there is an expectation, we have to live up to the expectation, but not the way they want us to be. There is no question of we trying to hurry it up, try to monetize it faster and things like that, because that's never the goal. Because as you know, we're a pretty old company. We have took so many years to build this, and we took our own time because we only focused on our users, and then came the monetization bit. So the same would be the case for all our new products.
We've seen a significant amount of consolidation in the e-commerce space. The big deal just got done, which is Myntra and Flipkart, of course, been brewing for a long time, finally now official. Do you anticipate much more consolidation? And what about you? Are you in the market looking at M&A opportunities?
The particular example that you took, it had common shareholders, so it made a lot of sense.
Do you think it really was the common shareholders that drove that merger?
Because it's very, very early days in India for this kind of M&A opportunity, actually speaking. You need to wait for another couple of more years to see whether people really, truly create an asset, or it's kind of a situation that you're not going you're not able to raise money further, so you go and marry someone.
So investors didn't want to burn the candle at both ends and hence decided to bring the two together.
Absolutely, your own money is competing with, so we don't want to do that.
So you're not being forced by investors, I hope. But are you looking at inorganic opportunities at this point in time? You've got a significant amount of cash on your book.
Well, the cash is there definitely, but I don't think we would look at, we'll be very cautious. We definitely buy a technology if it is going to save us time to market, definitely look at acquiring a technology company, but not so much in the
E-commerce space.
Because it's too very, very early days, because people are spending mind-boggling amount of money just to acquire customers. And for every incremental sale also they're spending huge amount of money. So where is that stickiness I want to see?
So 6 months down the line, where do you see yourself?
You would see 6 months down the line, a lot of these Search Plus transactions would have taken off, and it would be spreading virally among people in India. Okay, this thing really works, and I find it.
What about outside India? You know, a lot of Indian players, companies like InMobi, for instance, have created global product companies out of India. What about Just Dial? Do you have global aspirations?
Definitely, you will see that happening very soon. You would see, but we would do it creatively. We would not dent our profits. We would do it in a very interesting way, and we would be market leaders in all those countries also.
2014, 2015?
2015 for sure.
2015 for sure. And will it be one country at a time, or will you go in with a big bang?
Multiple countries at a time.
Developed markets, developing markets, emerging markets?
Developing markets, and developed markets is a different ballgame altogether, so we would be very cautious about that. But developing markets, the opportunity is huge. There's a vacuum there, you just go and occupy that, so that's the idea.
So if I were to ask you to sum up your entrepreneurial vision in a line, your driving sort of mantra, philosophy, what would it be?
Constantly evolve, constantly change with times. That's all I would say for all entrepreneurs.
Well, Mani here is hoping Just Dial continues to change and evolve with time. It's time now for us to take a break. But when we return, we bring you the story of a 21-year-old Finnish entrepreneur who started his interactive online shopping portal DealDash when he was only 16. Stay tuned. You're watching our Young Turks special. Welcome back. You're watching Young Turks. The youngest entrepreneur at the eBay Entrepreneur of the Year Summit in Monte Carlo was 21-year-old William Wolfram of Finland, who started his online interactive shopping portal DealDash in 2009 when he was only 16. Today, the venture does over $54 million in revenues, has over 3 million users, and William heads a team of over 70 people. Using gaming mechanics to keep the daily auction site sticky, William is positioning DealDash as a cheaper and fairer version of eBay. Let's take a look at his story.
William Wolfram was 16 when he started his online auction and deals platform from his bedroom in Helsinki, Finland. And right from the start, his vision was clear. He wanted to service the US market and become one of the frontrunners in the gamification of the online shopping experience. Today, DealDash has offices in Sunnyvale, California and Helsinki and has emerged as one of the most talked about brands of 2013. We caught up with William in Monte Carlo and began by asking him what pushed him to take the entrepreneurial plunge at 16.
I think I was naive enough to not understand the risks and the competitors. So, when we arrived in the US, I realized that there were more than 1,000 competitors and some had raised hundreds of millions of dollars of venture capital. And here I was working from my parents' house in my bedroom with no education and no money and no business network. But, the customers voted with their credit cards and social media helped spread the word. And 6 years later, we're really lucky to be serving 3 million customers.
So DealDash is a fun auction house. Explain the concept and explain what you intend doing with it from here on.
Sure. The first 20 years of e-commerce was really about creating efficiencies. Selections got broader, prices came down, service became better. But I think the next 20 years is about making shopping online fun and engaging. And that's what we're working on. And, the way that we do it today is through pay-to-play auctions.
And how are you different from the 1,000 other e-commerce guys in the market? Or how do you position yourself differently, and how do you intend positioning yourself differently as you evolve?
Well, our mission is to provide the most exciting way to get a deal. Our customers on average spend more than an hour each time they shop with us. Compare that to about 3 to 4 minutes in traditional e-commerce and you can see the differences.
So what have you done differently to get them to stay on?
So we've hired a lot of game developers, and we introduced game mechanics to the e-commerce shopping experience. We patented several of the inventions, and customers love coming back. Last year, 92% of our revenue came from repeat buyers, which is something I'm really proud about. But it's day one for us, and even though we're a 5-6-year-old company, our goal is to increase our revenue tenfold in the next 3 years and enter China and invest in mobile heavily.
So speaking about entering China, what is going to be the big opportunity that you hope to capitalize on in China? And, in comparison to the way that you've been operating in the US, are you likely to follow a more local strategy in China?
It's definitely a very different strategy. We need to find great local partners to work with, and then we need to try to contribute to their success as much as our own. So in the US, we work with phenomenal partners like Best Buy and Walmart and Sears. And in China, we've met with some similar companies and hope to meet with more.
So was age ever a factor? I mean, when you talk to the guys at Walmart or Sears or Best Buy, and they're like, he's 21. Do we really want to do business with him?
Well, in the beginning, it was hard being taken seriously, especially when I didn't have money to pay much for employees. But, we managed to have a really good luck with finding great people. I've always tried hiring people that are much smarter than I am, and it hasn't been hard for me to find those people. So, it's been a very important piece, putting good people together.
So, you've got this Google Glass on.
Yep.
So clearly that is the future, according to Google. What is the future, according to you, as far as e-commerce is concerned?
Well, we're big believers, in this type of device. We spent the first 4 or 5 years of our company focused on desktop, and now 70% of our customers are mobile, so all of our investments are going into mobile. And we want to be in the next platform as it comes out. We want to be in the forefront of that, and we think it's something like Google Glass.
Really? So you're looking at a product play as well?
Well, think about this. Right now I have email and I have my schedule here and I have directions, but in the future I'll have things like I go to the store and I see an item and I immediately see reviews on it. I see if it was ecologically made or not. I see what other friends of mine thought about it. And there's things like that we were really excited about building.
Let me ask you to sum up your entrepreneurial philosophy and your entrepreneurial vision. What drives you? What wakes you up every morning and gets you to work today?
The customers. I talk to a customer once a day, and all of our employees.
Every single day?
Every single day. Whether you're working with accounting or engineering, you're going to do a customer call at DealDash once a week. And we share notes, and sometimes we go to our customers' homes and sit with them, and that's the most important part of building a successful company, in my view.
William here is wishing you the very best of luck for the future. On that note, it's time for us to wrap up this edition of Young Turks. As always, write to us with your feedback and suggestions. Our email address is youngturks@network18online.com. You can log on to our website, youngturks.in.com. Till next week, from everyone here on the show, goodbye and many thanks for watching.